Hello, this is Kurt, also known as the 1upkid, and I'm here with another Ramble. And this time around, I'll be talking about the fact that Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods has been licensed by Funimation. And this happened on May 30th, which was pretty cool. This was their surprise Friday announcement, and it really did come out of the blue because they just posted it on their social media websites saying for a limited time it will be in theaters, and you can go see it, and it will include the English dub. And it's only going to be in theaters for a limited run, so it's only going to be in theaters for August 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 9th. For some reason, it's not on the 8th. Not really sure why. And it's only going to be in 350 theaters total, but they haven't given out a list yet. They probably still are compiling that list together. Hopefully, it will be in my area. We do have a movie theater in the city called The Ritz, and they usually do play like independent or different films. They usually play a lot of Miyazaki movies there, and like they play like Akira, and they did play at the time Evangelion 3.33 before it got delayed to so that list should hopefully come up around, I'm guessing around July, because right now it's still a little too early for anything to show up. I plan on seeing it, hopefully, and that should be fun. My initial thoughts about this is it's really nice that they finally got around to it. I never doubted Funimation getting it. There was always that little thing where people were unsure of whether or not Fox would have it or Funimation would get it. I always thought it could be a mixture of the two, where they would both get it, but it seems like Funimation just flat out got it. The Fox logo is at the end of the trailer, but I don't really think that means that much because they did help make it in Japan, but that does not necessarily mean they're helping to bring it over in America. So this is pretty cool. They're like, it took forever, but in reality, it really didn't. I mean, it's only been a year. And I honestly believe that kind of just like with the One Piece scenario, which is that One Piece Season 6 has gotten delayed because they're trying to dub Film Z at the same time to get it out this year. I have a feeling they may have done the same thing with Kai, where Kai was probably ready to go, but in order to get Battle of Gods out this year, Kai had to be kind of put on a hold. But I don't know. We'll see. Some aspects I would like to talk about is the opening, or it's not necessarily an opening, but the movie does have a main theme. It's like a remake of the song Head Shala by Flo, and I don't think it will be dubbed at all. Because when talking to like other international markets, such as like France and Spain and all that, they pretty much said that they can't dub the opening song because Flo doesn't want it to be dubbed. They clearly want their own band to be marketed everywhere. So if the band themselves are saying no, then that just means that no one can do it, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just it would have been cool to hear Head Shala in English, but Flo did make an English version, but it's very broken. So it doesn't really flow. Since we do have a confirmation that it is going to have the English dub, not only because Funimation themselves said it, but their trailer, which is like less than 30 seconds, actually it was like more like less than 40 seconds, they have Sean Schemmel screaming the Kamehameha, and it sounds great. They really put a lot behind it. So, the movie's of course going to be dubbed. So I guess I want to talk about voice actor possibilities this time around for this. So to get the easiest thing out of the way, the whole Kai cast will return. It's just they are the cast, and so there's no dispute about that. Monica Rail as Bulma, 18 as Colin Klingenbeard, Goku as Sean Schemmel, Chris Sabat, Kyle Haber as Gohan. Even though I mentioned this before in my Kai rambles, if Videl was not played by Kira Edwards, because Kira Edwards already plays as Goten, so switching her out wouldn't be a bad thing, because it would just mean that she can focus on one character and just do the best for that one particular character. Since her cast pool is significantly larger, they can just have another female be, a lead. Honestly, if I had to choose someone, it could be Lexi Christian, for those who don't know who she is. She does a lot of roles. She plays Medusa from Soul Eater, and she's also Nami from One Piece. And I really do think she would be like the perfect fit because she has a lot of range and she can really pull off these roles. Another voice actor they can go with is Brianna Pelican. I can't actually say her name. I'm sorry. And the reason why I can say they can go with her is that she actually did voice Videl in Super Dragon Ball Z, the video game, way back in the PS2 days. Because I think at the time Kira Edwards could not play as her, so she just did it. She sounds pretty great, very cutesy, so she could work too. I mean, she at least already has the prior experience. She already plays with Chaozu, and I don't think that's a big deal because Chaozu's role in the Boo arc, it's pretty much non-existent. If you want to even go a little further than that, in this movie, Chaozu has no speaking lines at all, so... So yeah. Fat Boo, as I mentioned before, Josh Martin will probably return as him because he still gets work. He still works for the company. And I don't think they will replace him at all because he does work, as long as they just tone it down a little, and they probably will because, Kai pretty much fixes all the annoying problems that the past dubs had. He'll be fine. But if they did possibly replace him, they could always replace him with Chris Casson, who was Gluttony from Fullmetal Alchemist and Brotherhood. Because, they both still work there, but I don't know. I kind of doubt it. So yeah, I think Josh Martin will stay. With all that right there, you kind of get the preview of Kai in a sense because, well, Kai is not here in America yet. Well, it is here, but, it hasn't been announced yet. So when we see this movie in theaters, we'll be getting a preview of what the Boo arc of Kai is going to be like with the voice acting and the deliveries from all of our actors. Alright, so now to talk about people who are not regulars and people who would not be in the Boo arc. Let's talk about the Pilaf crew. So Pilaf is actually played by Chuck Huber. He does a lot of roles. He's Android 17, and he's pretty much like their go-to guy for like everything. He can stay. I never had an issue with him. It's a little weird, but Pilaf's kind of meant to be a very weird character. I mean, he has a very like high pitch, kind of dorky voice in Japanese. I think it works. Chuck Huber kind of emulates that, where it's like dorky and goofy. But I will say that they had to replace him because, he already plays his role, so getting other actors wouldn't hurt. Greg Arias would actually be a good replacement because if you listen to a Japanese voice actor, he has like this very, I don't know, kind of like weird, gargly, but kind of nervous voice, and I think Greg Arias kind of captures that much better. The only problem there is that Greg Arias was Goldo in Kai, but I don't know, he fits, so... But Hubert's probably going to stay. I mean, he could get replaced. It's really up to Chris Sabat if he chooses to change him out, feeling maybe they can go with more appropriate roles, but we'll see. Mai was during Dragon Ball Run played by someone named Julie Franklin, but she actually doesn't work for the company anymore. And it's not really until more recent, like in the video games, she was replaced by Colleen Clinkenbeard. I wouldn't mind if they change it out, because Colleen already plays 18, and, of course, she played the wonderful Gohan. So having her again doesn't really seem necessary, because she already plays 2 major roles. This time she's only going to play as 18, because, Gohan's grown up. But if they could replace her, I think Jamie Marchi would work, and for those who don't know who she is, she's Panty from Panty and Stocking. She's also Liz in Soul Eater. She has a pretty distinct voice. That would probably work for her. And finally, we have Shu, which is funny because I mentioned this voice actor earlier, is Chris Casson. His performance in Dragon Ball was okay. It didn't stick out, but it wasn't bad. I don't really have another replacement because he kind of works. So, I mean, if they pick someone else, okay, but if he can return for it, he can. So, yeah, that's about it for the Pilaf crew. The only other character, I guess, is the Oracle Fish, which is, I actually have not seen Battle of Gods. So, when I see it in theaters, that'll be the first time I see it, because I've seen everything about it, reviews, etc., etc. But it's one thing to read it, and then it's one thing to see it, so I don't know the whole picture yet. So the Oracle Fish, it really doesn't matter to me, it's just, it's a fish, it doesn't have that many lines, whatever. But now let's get to the primary characters. I'll start off with not the primary villain, but the second one, which is Whis. I don't really have any suggestions, but, the video game Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z, very stupid title. He was played by Ian Sinclair, and he's pretty perfect for the role. He kind of uses his Brook voice, which is from One Piece. I don't see any problem with it, because in Japanese he kind of has like this very high-pitched manner, like politeness to him, and his Brook kind of carries that, so yeah, he doesn't need to be altered or anything. Let's get to the final character, Beerus. I actually do have a suggestion for this, and I actually believe that the person who should play Beerus is Steve Bloom. And that's simply because in the Japanese version of Battle of Gods, Beerus is played by Konochi Yamadara. I'm really sorry for butchering that. And he also voices Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, which, as everyone else knows, so does Steve Bloom. So having two of the same actors playing the same role would be pretty clever. Steve Blum could just do it because he just has the range. He's one of the best voice actors in the industry, and he does a lot of roles. He does a lot of video game roles, television, cartoons, a lot of anime, so he can do this. Personally, if I heard him talk, I would want him to kind of speak like Spike Spiegel or Zabuza from Naruto. But what I mean by that is he would have a deep voice. So he would go with because the Spike Spiegel's a pretty deep voice, but he would actually talk. His mannerisms would be more like Orochimaru from Naruto, because Orochimaru has this very polite but stuck-up way of talking, and that actually works. From what I hear, he's kind of like passive most of the time, and kind of like, I guess in a way, he's kind of like Frieza. Frieza's very royal and kind of stuck up, and I hear that Beerus is kind of similar in a way. And I wouldn't mind this as well, because it's also getting different blood into the Dragon Ball voice pool, because most of their actors are just in-house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this would be getting out someone completely different that they usually don't do. And it's kind of similar to how in One Piece Strong World, they got Scott McNeil for Shiki, and he's from Canada, and they don't get him all the time. And so if they're able to do that for him, I don't see why they can't do that for, Battle of Gods, because they're not going to be dubbing a movie every other day. And they wouldn't even have to worry about the video games, because Steve Blum already does the voice acting for the Naruto games. And if they just ask him, hey, can you do some line for, the next Dragon Ball game or whatever? I really doubt Steve Blum would be like, no. Yeah, he'll do it. It only takes him a few minutes. Well, it doesn't take a few minutes, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's not hard. However, I do think they will probably go with Jason Douglas, who was Beerus in the Battle of Z game. He did fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with his performance. He did really good. But he's already a character in Dragon Ball Kai, and he's already King Cold, and he did a great job. And I guess personally, having different actors wouldn't hurt. This is like a primary example, because Jason Douglas's role of King Cold wasn't big, but why not get someone else? I don't know, but I have a feeling they'll probably just go with Jason Douglas. But, they could always surprise me. That would be really cool if they did go out of the way to get, Steve Blum, because he is completely different, and he hasn't worked for Funimation at all, despite Funimation, having a lot of the shows that he's in. Yeah, so that's all I got for the voice actors. I guess I would like to close it out with saying that the home release for this movie will probably come out around wintertime, maybe around November or December, because if they're releasing this movie in theaters in August, the dubbing will be done, so all the real work will be finished. So all they would have to do from there is just put on video. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to get it out this year, because this is meant to be their 20-year anniversary, Funimation's, and you kind of want to close it out with that. So yeah, pretty excited for this thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to think of the movie, but I'm going to go in with low expectations, because I've heard things about it, and I've heard that the plots and the fighting's and the animation is blech. But I want to see it for myself, and it'll be pretty cool. That's all I gotta say, and I hope everyone has a good day, and hopefully you all enjoy the movie when it comes out. So I'll catch you all later.